you can always tweet us directly at Ashley Mazuri at the JC Rogers. The hashtag to use is Friday Briefing, and we'll be sampling some of your views on that. What do you think about Kenya being ranked second in Africa in terms of speaking English? And on that note, on the word on the street this week, we want to see how you fared in the pronunciation. Take a look first before we talk to Willis, the word master.
Reveal, reveal, reveal.
Reveal, reveal, reveal. Reveal, reveal, reveal. Reveal, reveal, reveal.
Revile, revile.
Revile. Revile. Reveal. Reveal.
Reveal. Reveal.
Reveal. Reveal. Reveal.
All right, let's now cross over to Willis, the word master. Willis, I hope you're well. Your week has been good. Now, let's talk about that word on the street. I've had revele. I don't know how it's pronounced, Willis. You are the better person to tell us how it's pronounced. So to you.
Well, Ashley Mazuri, before I go to word on the street, there is something that has been very elating because, when we are being recognized as a country that speaks good English, in fact, I have to give a salute to Kenyans. And it's a fact because, you see, most of the things or our communication is always on English or in English for that matter, and also Kiswahili. So we deserve a pat on the back. But if you want to know more and you want to test more of the Kenyan stuff when it comes to English, just try Ashley Mazuri, Jesse Rogers, talk about the Kenyan English broadcasters and you'll love it. Now, straight to word on the street. This word is a loan word, a word that is borrowed from another language, and in fact it's borrowed from French and based on Latin, and it means a tune that is played to wake soldiers in the morning. When the soldiers are being woken up in the morning, there is that tune that is played. That tune is called Rivali. Rivali. The problem is the spelling. What we see, that's why you hear reveal, reveal, revile, revile, and all that because of the spelling. Now, when you come to pronunciation, you don't pronounce this word in terms of the spelling or the letter sequence. You say rivali. In English, you pronounce that word as rivali. Remember, in American pronunciation, you'd hear of revali. Now, Ashley, we'd go now to our collections of the week. And our first word, I believe many people have heard about coronavirus. Coronavirus, the story from China, and there is this story or this word that many people are really talking about, and it's confusing people. Now, if you can try, just 1 second for you to try wherever you are, our dear viewer, wherever you are, can you try? If you've said quarantine, quarantine, no. You pronounce this word as quarantine. Quarantine. It's a confinement of humans or animals when we have an outbreak of a disease, and they are sometimes maybe feared that they would spread it. So when they are confined in one place, you say they have been kept in quarantine. Quarantine. Quarantine is commonly used locally, but please avoid it. You say quarantine. Now, just with that still, when we are still talking about the coronavirus, you also have this word which is close to, issues or the subject itself. And this one, when we talk about that substance that protects the body from a disease, the problem is, do we say vaccine? Do we say vaccine? Do we say vaccine? Do we say vaccine? This word has two acceptable pronunciations. One, you can say vaccine, vaccine, and you can also say vaccine, vaccine. You can say vaccine, that is vaccine, and vaccine. Vaccine with a stress at the onset, that is the beginning, or vaccine with a stress on the second syllable. Now, we go to the next word, tricky. This one is tricky, and those who are studying phonetics may understand it easily, but please, it is a term that is used in phonetics to refer to a sound that is produced by placing the bottom lip. That is, let us begin with the top teeth on the bottom lip. When you have the top teeth placed against that bottom lip, and then you produce the sound, just like the sound in fun, or the sound v in van, veil, vest, and all that. You talk of this word. Can you pronounce it? I know it's tricky, but many people have said labiodental. Labiodental? No. Don't say labio. You say labio. Labiodental. So those who are pursuing or studying phonetics, please say labiodental for this sound. That is the sound produced when you place the upper or the top teeth against the lower or the bottom lip. Labiodental. Now, our next word is a word that many people love, especially those who are in, hospitality. Now, here is a word which is a noun, and it means polite behavior that is appropriate in a social situation. I just got myself saying a social because I had somebody cracking a joke. In fact, this morning or today morning, he was saying, do we say social and sociology? Then, it created a lot of fun at a forum somewhere. Please, social is social. Then you say sociology. Very tricky. But our word is right here. What do you say? You say decorum. Decorum, polite behavior that is appropriate in a social situation. A great sense of decorum. Don't say decorum. Decorum. So you say D, then you have the stress on co. Decorum. Then our next word is tricky, not common, and it refers to a vitamin of the group which is B, and it's found in grains, beans, and liver. Now, this one, you say thiamine, thiamine. You can also say thiamine. Thiamine. But don't say thiamine. Thiamine, no. You say thiamine or thiamine. A vitamin of the B group that is found in grains. I've said also beans and liver. So, our next one is common, but many people mispronounce this word. Can you try it wherever you are? If you have said mangrove, no. You say mangrove. We are talking about the tropical tree that grows in mud. You don't say mangrove. Avoid that. Mangrove, no. An X. You say mangrove. Then our next word is tricky. It's a tricky one. It's a term or a terminology, and it's, in fact, a formal word for the process of decaying, especially a dead body. So, you say putri. Don't say putre or patri. Patre, no. Putre, no. Putri, no. You say putri. Putrefaction. You pronounce this word as putrefaction. That is the formal word for the process of decaying, especially a dead body. Now, the next one is a phrase borrowed from Latin, and it's tricky. I've heard many people using different versions. Now, how do you say it? Especially lawyers, journalists, politicians, or those who are diplomats. How do you pronounce this Latin phrase? How do you say it? Well, if you've said something like de jure, de jury, de whatever, please just avoid it. In English, this phrase is pronounced de jure, or you say de jure. De jure, or jury. That's the tricky part. Jewelry or jury. Jure, that is what our eyes see. Don't say jure, don't say jua. Some people also say de jua. De jua, no. you say de jure or de jure and de jure. Tricky from Latin. Now, from there, we go to feedback. We have Halima Mtawazo of Mombasa. You say conscience, conscience, my conscience. Don't say conscience. Then we have Zach Obiero. I can't see your base, but Zach Obiero, you say endow, to endow. Don't say endo. Endow and endowed, endowed with something. Nancy Njagi of Meru, you say feminine, feminine. Don't say feminine. Feminine, no. Feminine, and you also say masculine, not masculine. Odhiambo Collins of Nairobi, you say soliloquy. Soliloquy. That monologue, when somebody is on stage talking to himself or herself, you say soliloquy. That is the term. And when we have a dialogue, you say colloquy. Colloquy. Not colloquy, not soliloquy, 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 colloquy. You get that? Soliloquy, colloquy. Tricky. Now we have Gili Kipkemoi of Kamusuk Tiati. Oh, keep it up. This is KTN, and you'll always love it. Now, Penny Kuto of Nairobi, you say panacea, panacea. And then you say insatiable, insatiable. Now, the next person is Thomas Simiyu of Mumias. You say kamikaze, kamikaze. Don't say kamikaze. Kamikaze attack. Then Melinda Kirwa of Upper Kabete, Nairobi, you say liaise, to liaise with somebody, not to liars. To liars is used commonly and locally, but please say liaise. That is the accurate pronunciation of that word, to liaise with so and so. And you say liaison, liaison. Don't say liaison. Common, but wrong. We have Kilonzo Oliver of Machakos. You say Caesarean, Caesarean. Caesarean section. Caesarean section. Now we have Edith Shamola. Many people say Edith. It's Edith. That name is tricky. You say Edith Shamola of Nairobi. You say Sojan, and your second word is tricky. A term. You say obstetrician, obstetrician, and obstetrician. Now, lastly, we have Evanson Nandemu of Kitale. You say bronchus, bronchus. Don't say bronchus or bronchus. You say bronchus and bronchitis, bronchitis. Then we have meningitis, meningitis. Don't say meningitis the way we find ourselves saying locally. Otherwise, we also have here Marianne Mwikali, Philip Luta, Edith Chebi Rotich of Eldamaravin, Kevin Omolo, and Adeline Wachenje. Adeline Wachenje and the other team, please just keep it up because it's KTN, and every Friday you can't miss all the good things that you are praising. Then we have Kelly Ogome, and we have also somebody who sent in this word for tonight, the surprise word for tonight. Now, this word, it means a natural spring that sometimes sends hot water or steam into the air. It also refers to that piece of equipment that heats water either in the bathroom or your kitchen. Please, you say geyser, geyser. That is in British pronunciation, geyser, geyser. You'll realize that those who are inclined to American English would say geyser. Now, our next part is confusing words. Confusing words. Tonight I have what we call homophones. And when I talk about homophones, I'm referring to words that are spelled differently with different meanings, but they are pronounced the same way. Now, these two words, I know there are people who would say, true? Are you kidding? Please, the upper word, profit, that is in business, the money that you make in business. And when you come down to this word, you also say profit. You can see the phonetic transcriptions that I have used here, our dear viewers. When you talk about the money that you make in business and a person who has been sent by God, that is in Christian religions, and when you talk about somebody who claims to know what would happen in the future, you say profit, just like profit. So for those who are learning, especially in high school, when you talk about homophones, no, those ones are homophones. And then, the second last, we have the much asked about words. The much asked about words. Now, the upper word, and I know this one will be tricky. This one will be tricky. Dear viewers, in parliament, we always have those formal debates or issues which, the parliamentarians have to resolve on, and they go for what we call voice voting or acclamation. Then you'd hear the speaker saying, the ayes have it. As many as of that opinion or the same opinion say aye, aye. Now that word you hear, aye, is up here. Aye, A-Y-E. This is how it's written. Aye. And then the plural, ayes. The ayes have it. Then those who say no, they say nay. This is how you spell nay. And those who say nay or say no, they are called the nays. The nays. This is how you write it. Finally, please, it's only on KTN. You get the phonetic symbols. And I would be very fast on this. Just a second. Please, this is the diphthong I. I. This is how it is transcribed. I. A diphthong is a glide on two vowel sounds. So just like I, which I've talked about, I, macho, and I, the first person pronoun, please, you have to also see it is I. So these are the symbols or the way we transcribe. We write the pronunciation of a word using special symbols from the International Phonetic Alphabet. You get it only on KTN and wherever you are. Always remember, this is Mind Your Language, and I'm Willis Ocheng, always with you every Friday night from Kisumu. And you can also interact with me on Twitter. The handle is at Willis Ocheng 1. I'm taking you back now to Nairobi, where we have Ashley Mazuri and Jesse Rogers. If you doubt that report about Kenya being tough when it comes to English or being eloquent, then please just listen to Jesse and Ashley and the entire KTN team or the Kenyan English broadcasters. Back to you in Nairobi.
Just escaped. It's totally understandable. But we do appreciate Willis, the word master. In case of any questions, you know where to find him at Willis Ocheng 1, and we'll definitely get to sample your questions next week, only here on KTN News on Mind Your Language. Good evening, Willis. All right, that marks the end of Friday Briefing.
Yes, it does.
It's been an inspirational show.
Are you inspired?
I am.